history. It's like 4 minutes, right? It's quite long. And it literally sets up the fact that they are the new Avengers. The Thunderbolts, they
Mm.
literally are the Avengers, right? It's like 14 months later, they're in Avengers Tower, blah 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 blah.
Well,
Right.
this is probably a scene from Doomsday, like,
Yeah, no,
is
probably,
that
but I
right?
mean, like even if it's not, it still sets up where the universe is because we haven't really had that. Like all the other post-credit scenes tease someone coming or whatever. We didn't really have a status quo. Now we have a status quo. We know where we are. We're, post snap, that's all in the past, or post the multiverse thing. There's a looming threat coming, and we have an Avengers team again. We
Yeah.
know who they are. It is pretty cool. It's just like the Thunderbolts. When I went in to see them, I was expecting the Thunderbolts, right? But this is typical Marvel thing where they do bait and switch, and this has kind of knocked them back a little bit. If they had just said it's the new Avengers, I think people would have
Been
flocked
very
to it.
skeptical, like,
Well, no, they probably would have been skeptical, but they also like a vast number would have been like, "All right, let's go," and then they would have went to it as well by hedging their bets and now not re-releasing it, but like rebranding it, like quite literally as the new Avengers.
yeah.
Um, it's just really weird. I never thought Marvel would do something like that. It's such a weird thing to do. Like, okay, Kane, what did you think of the movie in general, and then what do you think of this move?
Well, look, I won't review the movie because I
Ah,
don't.
do go on, go on.
Well, I won't do it for long because I don't want to accidentally repeat something you said before. But
Yeah,
like, no, I took Stevie and we really, really, really enjoyed it. It was like I was expecting a very goofy, not necessarily like Guardians of the Galaxy goofy, but something very kind of offbeat. You get that a little bit from like the Russian dad guy. But like, no, I was really impressed with like how seriously they took all the characters. I loved all the world building, like what the stakes were, about how there was this sort of undercurrent of like mental health and sort of like both the Suicide Squad movies like gesture at like being heroes even though you're do damage to, but I don't really think they did the work to earn it, even the better one. Uh so I was very impressed with how they handled this film and the build of it. I really liked all the characters. It's unlike a lot of Marvel films, there's like nothing I would cut from it. I thought it was really, really impressive from beginning to end. I also really appreciated how like there were less fights, but like when there was, it was more involved. Like, like the fight in the safe and then kind of going out in the dark with the SWAT team and like oh the creepy effect of like the sentry just turning people into shadows on the ground, like, and everything with Julie
the
Louis
Void,
Dreyfus. Like,
the Void, not the Sentry, the Void.
oh, I know. Look, I'm rereading the new Avengers right now, actually, the comics like from back in the day. But no, I really enjoyed it and I was very impressed. I was in a packed cinema of people who also really enjoyed it, so that was a really nice experience too. Uh, no, the only what I'd rather talk about rather than reviewing it, because like I mean we seem to have a consensus that everyone seems to like it, is I just have one or two stray observations, which was first of all, I noticed Yelena said that she got snapped and unsnapped,
Yeah.
and she sort of references to the dad that the
Hmm.
dad hadn't seen her in a year since
Right.
she came back. So
Right.
does that mean, if my maths is right, um, Infinity War was what, 2018, 2019, was it?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. Which means the 5 year gap, we are now current. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah,
So it
we've
means
now
it
caught
means
up.
that like all the phase 4 and 5 stuff would have happened in the year 2023 or 24.
Hmm.
And now we're not in a Marvel universe that's in the year 2030. We are now caught back to the two being kind of synchronized, you know?
Yeah, that's what I caught too. Yeah.
Right. Okay, all right. Sorry if you covered that already. The other thing is, as exciting as it is to call them the new Avengers, I think it's a trick. I think we've got two Avengers movies coming up, and I think what's going to happen is this team, which, the end credits are all like people aren't happy with the Thunderbolts and all being the Avengers and all that kind of stuff. I think this team is going to get torn to bits, and I think the second new Avengers movie is going to be like the actual ringers from Marvel being pulled in. Not that I don't like this team. I think they're great. I thought they cast the Sentry really well. I'm actually the one person on Earth who really seems to like the Falcon, the Winter Soldier, and the Hawkeye series. It was great to see all of them getting their moments in the sun. Uh, but I think that's the thing. I think this is like kind of a not a gimmick, but sort of a something to get people intrigued to get into the Avengers movie with a little bit more than name recognition alone, if you know
I
what
wouldn't no, I wouldn't say it's a trick. It's resetting where they are.
Oh,
Like I
I
mean,
get that. I get
like
that,
it, it
but I don't think these are going to be the permanent status quo Avengers. I
no,
don't
of course
think
not.
that Falcon being tasked with setting up a team one movie before this and then have that not because have you noticed in the Doomsday Part One, like Doctor Strange isn't in it, Captain
Yeah, no,
Marvel isn't in
no,
it.
what I'm
Lot
saying,
of big names aren't in it. They probably won't show up till part two, you know?
no, exactly, but they have to set up a status quo here. And I
Oh,
mean,
I agree. Again, I really like the film.
but
I
here's no, no,
I
no.
think
Look,
that
what
I think it's just to kind of like set some intrigue and then the real things coming further down the road.
yeah, kind of, but like you've had this before. There's the secret event, there's secret Avengers who are the Dark Avengers, right? It's the West Coast Avengers. There's the Young Avengers, and there's the New Avengers. It like this is not the first time it's happened. Like the Avenger team, you know,
Mm,
is whoever's around really in the comics, and that's kind of where they are now. What's going to happen here is this is going to be the Avengers team as they are. There'll be some conflict with the Falcon, right? Uh, and then whatever team he puts together,
mm,
they'll probably be sapped to Battle World,
yeah.
which is obviously what they're building up to. And then that's when you'll have your ringers probably show up near the end. What I have heard is, again, look, we're getting into speculation and rumors and stuff, but what I have heard
That's
is,
the fun part of Marvel, let's be
yeah,
honest.
for sure, but it's also the disappointing part of Marvel when they don't do it. What I have heard is that like the young Avengers are going to play a big part in getting everyone to remember who they were
Yeah.
in Battle World, because obviously like Doctor Doom sets it up. Well, the Beyonder is supposed to set it up, but he's not there. So Doctor Doom is setting this up. It's his kingdom, and you'll have some smattering of the Avengers, some of the X-Men or whatever. Um, but what the thing about it is that really doesn't bother me too much, or doesn't really, you know, it's not why I'm watching it. What I do like is that I know where we are. You know, I know what the stakes are. I know who's involved. I know who the characters are, and I know where the world is. Right now, the world is like, okay, everyone knows there's an Avengers team. They're doing this. You know, they're struggling back and forward, and you know they're just kind of off doing missions, which is one thing that I you know what I've missed that. I've missed that there's an Avengers team doing missions and just
Yeah.
hanging out. Like, look, as bad as Age of Ultron could have like was at certain points. My favorite part of the whole movie was when the Avengers were just being the Avengers, you know. And for the first time in a long time, that post-credit scene just had them hanging out. That was cool. That was really, really cool.
It is the trade-off of like, because I think Marvel was right to adopt the strategy of not having an Avengers team and instead focusing on like crossovers, like, you know, Doctor Strange with Wanda and so on like that. But yeah, it is something that has been missing. And actually, just because you said you liked it, did you watch the third season of What If?
No, no, but I'm aware of what happened, and I just haven't got a chance
No,
to.
no, no, I'm not going to get into that. I'm just saying the best episode is one set in the 90s where Red Guardian and Winter Soldier era Bucky Barnes, basically the Red Guardian foils his attempted assassination of Stark's parents, and then it becomes the two of them midnight run, two Russians running across America pretending to be Americans. It's a lightning in a bottle thing, and I was delighted to see that they paired those two again.
Hmm.
Not a huge amount, but a fair bit in this film, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, Bucky got a bad doing in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Hmm.
I think everyone really did in that. Like, there were bits that were really good. I do honestly believe it should have been a film.
Yeah.
It should have been a film, and it would have been a lot. It,
Hmm.
you know, a lot of the fat would have been trimmed, but
Yeah.
it was great to see Bucky actually get to be the Winter Soldier again. You know,
Hmm.
he got his mojo back for the first time in a long time, and like I mean, yeah, look, he should be Captain America, like 100%. Like that's all that movie showed me, and I was like, yeah, okay, he feels like Captain America.